It is a little past 8 o'clock. Time to go over the agenda for the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting for June the 2nd. Who's handling the invocation this morning? Is that you, Mr. Gurley, or?
No, actually, I've got Pastor Jeremy White that's going to be here. Reverend Lynn Epps was unable to make it, so we've got Pastor Jeremy White from the Bridge. And I'll be glad to introduce him.
Okay. Mr. Mayo, you going to do the pledge? Your voice good enough to do that this morning? That's good enough. Okay, all right. Approval of minutes. Any adjustments to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we do need to add one thing on the advice of the county attorney. When we approved the website budget, the website contract, I believe we stated in there that at the end of 3 years it would go up 5%, but he says it wasn't in the motion. So to do the contract appropriately, we need y'all to make a motion to accept that condition. Did I state that correctly?
Okay.
Can we put that on the consent agenda?
It's fine with me. Marcia has the printouts if you want to see it. Now, so year 4 would basically the 5% increase is about $500. So it's not a big.
Seriously, can we put it under consent agenda?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Once you add it to the agenda.
So the way the contract is written, it says up to 5%.
Yeah. And we need to say that to give you a limit. Okay.
Well, who wants to? We just need to add it to the agenda in the regular meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Who will take that responsibility? Or I will. We'll take care of it when we get there. Special recognition, would you want to handle that, or Marshall?
Two budget amendments to add.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
All right, we need to add those two then. And those need to be under the regular part of the budget, new business.
The special recognition, you gonna handle it, Marshall gonna handle it?
I think we're going to have Steve Cross here
Okay.
to talk about Chris Stone and Chris Cowan. Isn't that right?
Okay, and 9:15 we have the public comment section. And the public hearing. I'm sorry, public hearing at 9:15, and we'll take that one citizen at a time.
Is there a 4-minute limitation?
I think we put it on at the last meeting.
We did.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be proper in doing that. It is a public hearing. We're just trying to give some type of time frame. We just don't want somebody standing up for an hour and a half doing a filibuster.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Did I understand also that during this time that the commissioners would be able to communicate?
No, I don't think you should. You'd be here to midnight if you did that.
I'm sorry?
You'd be here to midnight if you did that on this.
But I think we did agree that commissioners could ask questions at that point.
That's right.
Well, let's keep in mind now. We are on a time frame here. We want to handle this properly, but we don't want it to get out of hand. This is, we don't need to get into a spitting contest this morning. We need to keep it civil and ask the proper questions and give them ample time to express their opinion and views. Is that okay with everybody? Appointment committee, Mr. Gurley, you got anyone?
We got about 8 today.
Y'all been working overtime.
It me last time, didn't it?
Then we go to unfinished business. Mr. Wood, take it from here on the consent agenda.
We don't have anything under unfinished, but we have a consent agenda. We now have 7 items. The Health Department patient fees, eligibility, and bad debt write-off policy. And as we indicated, there's only one change, one sentence change in that. It actually is more lenient for our citizens in terms of payment, so we're good there. 1517 Fire Protection District Commission appointments, that's on page 88. This is something we do every year, every 2 years. And you have the list of the people there by fire district. The next is, number 3, is to establish a public hearing on June 16 at 9:15 on the hazard mitigation plan update. And that's pages 90 through 114. And Chip Crumpler will be here if you have any questions on that. Oh, he is here now. Application for present use value, Alice Carnegie, guardian for Nathan and Kaylee McKinney. Alan's recommending approval, and I do as well, given the circumstances. The other is an application for property tax exclusion. This is Brogdon United Methodist Church, and that's on the parsonage. And we recommend approval of that as well. Then you have the smaller budget amendments under the consent agenda. Number 7 would be the website upgrade that we just talked about, the 5% increase going into the 4th year after the 3rd year, up to 5% increase. Under new business, we have a motion to approve the final subdivision plat for North Landing Section 2. And again, Chip is here if you have any questions on that. Fred Fontana's here to present to you a motion to approve the Gateway Rural General Public Fare rate reduction for a one-way trip. And so he'll be going over that with you and asking you to approve that. Then we have a motion to approve road naming resolution to honor William Gray Bailey. If you recall, this is the gentleman that was tragically killed out on the construction site on US 70.
I'd like to read that resolution.
Okay. And then number 4 is a motion to approve budget amendments. These are the larger budget amendments. We had a few already, and then we're adding those 2 add-ons which Pam brought this morning. And that's basically the agenda, other than the public comments and county manager's comments and your comments.
And like at 10 o'clock we had public, if we're through with the public hearing, we'll have the public comments at 10 o'clock. County manager report, then the commissioners committee reports and comments. We do need to go into closed session. And then after our meeting today, we will have a budget work session. Does anyone else have anything to add or any comments or any questions from anyone before we go into closed session? If not, Mr. Parker, why are we going in closed session?
To discuss the locational expansion of business and industry in Wayne County.
Do we need a motion?
I so move.
We have a motion, we'll go into closed session. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand. Let's go in closed session.
Maybe we have some good news today.
It is 9 o'clock, time to conduct business in the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. First of all, I'd like to ask if everyone has a cell phone or pager, please cut it off or put it on the silent mode. Mr. Doherty, I thank you for going to introduce our pastor this morning for invocation.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to introduce Pastor Jeremy White. He's originally from Cleveland, Ohio. He has pastored churches in New Mexico, Dallas, Texas, and now is at the Bridge for the last 5 years. He is the campus pastor of the Goldsboro campus that has an average attendance of 400 with 3 services a week. He has been a volunteer chaplain at Wayne Memorial Hospital for the last 5.5 years. He's been married to his beautiful wife, Sabrina, for the last 10 years and has 4, as he put it, incredible kids. Mr. Chairman, Pastor Jeremy White, if you'd lead us in prayer.
Commissioners and city officials, I thank you for allowing me to be here today. It's an honor. 1 Timothy 2:1-3 says, I urge them, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live in peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This is good and pleases God, our Savior. And I just want to take 20 seconds to explain that, and then I'll pray for us this morning. Petition means to ask. God urges us to ask, and He's pleased when we do. Prayer is talking to God anywhere, anytime, in any way. Intercession is praying for someone else. The Bible tells us in Romans that Jesus Christ constantly intercedes for us. So it pleases God when we intercede for someone else, which includes government officials, because we are doing what Christ does. So pretty amazing to think about that Jesus prays for us. And thanksgiving always pleases God. And the Bible specifically tells us to include thanksgiving when talking to God about those in authority. So let us pray. God, I want to thank you for this day that you've given us. We can't change yesterday, nor can we worry about tomorrow. Today is all that matters, so we ask for our daily bread. You give us the very air in our lungs that we breathe. Provide us with clothes on our back, food to eat, houses to live in, cars to drive, and family to come home to. You give us meaning and purpose more than money, position, or anything this world could ever offer. I ask that you would give these commissioners and city officials discretion, foresight, and understanding in making decisions, especially in the budgeting process today, that you would provide peace and harmony, that they would be examples of hard work and integrity throughout the area, for wisdom, patience, and gentle authority, for physical and emotional protection, that they would seek and accept wise counsel, that their trust would lie in you and not just the abilities you have given them. Bless and protect their marriages and children, no matter how young or how old they are. Enable them to carry out their duties with humility towards you and towards others. Bless them with strength, endurance, and stamina to make choices pleasing to you. Give them the courage to do the right thing even when it's hard. Give them a tender heart of compassion towards those they lead and serve. We thank you for the thousands of city employees that make Goldsboro and the surrounding area such a special place to live and work. We proclaim that you are the God of this city, and we are desperate for more of you. We want our city to thrive not only in our lives, but for our children and grandchildren for generations to come. To the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, we say, have your way. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend White.
Mr. Mayor. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners for the May 19th, 2015 meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion on the floor, we approve the minutes. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous. Let's go ahead and do our, Mr. Woods, any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We had the two that we talked about earlier. We have, under the consent agenda, we've added number 7, the website upgrade, where the price will go up to 5% in the 4th year. And then you have 2 add-ons under the budget amendments, which Mrs. Holt will go over with you.
Anyone else have any adjustments? Do we need to act on this one under the consent agenda, or just add it to it?
I would just add it to the consent agenda.
All right, okay. Okay, special recognition. And
Steve, y'all want to-
commissioners, please, let's step down front.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephen Cross, the IT Director for Wayne County. And recently, two of my staff members, Chris Stone and Chris Cowan, were awarded the James S. Cooper Award from the North Carolina Local Government Information Systems Association. And one of the things I'd like to say about this before I actually read the award is about 5, maybe 6 years ago, we went on a journey to transform Wayne County from a desktop environment, which is standard desktop computer, to a virtualization environment, which is more cost-effective. You can't get viruses on the systems. There's no hard drive. Produces 1/7 the electricity. No heat produced from these devices, or very small amount of heat. So it's a very cost-effective system. And what's amazing about that is the fact that we were one of the first agencies in North Carolina, local government agencies, to actually push forward and do desktop virtualization. Server virtualization was pretty common, but desktop virtualization was not, because it's very difficult to do, especially on the scale that we did it. We currently have around 550 users in our virtual environment that are on thin client devices, so they do not have desktop computers anymore. They're far more efficient, cost-effective than previous desktop systems. There's a lot of challenges with doing that, and these two guys played an integral role in ensuring the success of this transformation that Wayne County has made. And it just says a lot about them that we were able to do this compared to other counties that did attempt it but were unsuccessful. So other counties look to us as an example because of these guys. And part of that is Orange County. The operations manager there had heard about our program and our virtualization initiatives, and they were trying to do some work with Topaz signature pads for our health department for these. And it's a very cost-saving solution. The company that actually works with CureMD and to implement this project had never done virtualization, and they had never automated the process with Topaz signature pads with a virtual environment. So there was no solution out there that existed, and it was not an easy fix. But these two guys, over a period of several weeks, several months, came up with a solution, and it was a very good solution, and it worked perfectly in the virtual environment, which really is going to enable other counties to move forward with virtualization as well, because they're going to be able to do these things that these guys came up with in their own environment and save their own counties tons of money, which is what this is going to do. So I want to read the actual submission that was sent by Orange County. And it was, I would like to nominate Chris Stone, and here it says colleagues, but we clarified it was Chris Stone and Chris Cowan of Wayne County for the James S. Cooper Award. Earlier this year, they spent hours of their time sharing an innovative solution to a virtual desktop hardware issue we were having. We were having getting signature pads to work with Compass, Laserfish, and Citrix server hosted environment. The solution was obviously the result of hours of development and testing on their end, and they delivered it to us practically turnkey. Chris Stone through with a lot of a proactive check-in. Followed through with a lot of proactive check-ins, and to make sure that everything was going well, and we didn't have any questions. This kind of forthright contribution to the success of other agencies lifts the caliber and value of local government as a whole. Chris and company embodied the spirit of collective collaboration of Nickel-Giza and James S. Cooper Award. And let me read very briefly what the James S. Cooper Award is. The James S. Cooper Award was created in 1996 after Jim died of a sudden aneurysm in his 40s. Jim personified our organization in his quick acceptance of friends and ideas and his willingness to share information and methods. The spirit of the James S. Cooper Ambassador Award recognizes the individual and/or agency that provides service above and beyond their normal performance of duties with regard to interagency cooperation. So it's a very prestigious award. These guys really have helped a lot of other counties. It's not just Orange County. We have helped a lot of other agencies with virtualization, and it's just a credit to these guys. So Chris, I know you've already been through this once at Nickel-Giza, but I want to do this again. This says James S. Cooper Award presented to Chris Stone and Chris Cowan, Wayne County government, for sharing knowledge and helping fellow members of Nickel-Giza, the North Carolina Local Government Information Systems Association. Congratulations.
You gotta get right over here. Let's line up. We'll turn sideways.
Okay, here we go in 3. Thank you very much.
That was it?
I lost count.
Yeah, it was one that better be ready off.
Piece of wood.
Okay, let's carry on to business of Wayne County. We have scheduled today at 9:15, and we're just a minute or so past, public hearing on recommendations for the fiscal year of 2015-16. I know we have several in the audience that wants to make comments at the public hearing. But we have one guest that is tied on his time frame. Dr. Gaither, if you would, we'd like for you to make your comments first, because we know you got to get back to your practice and take care of your patients.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. I would like to thank the county commissioners for allowing me to come and speak on behalf of the WATCH program and the 3 free clinics that it runs to provide care for the citizens of Wayne County. I could go on and on about the benefits this program has provided the county. Most of you are familiar with the statistics. I think we're up over 22,000 unique patients that are seen on the clinic. We're up over 80,000 patient visits since operations began, and we see 1,000 patients a month. All the care is free. All their labs are free, and many of their medications are provided at no charge. This has become a vital asset to this community. There are hundreds of individuals that are seen on this unit, many from your districts, that we provide care for. And we provide them a medical home. We do something that's unique among free clinics in North Carolina. We provide these patients with ongoing medical management of their chronic medical problems. And we do this at no charge. So it's a very unique program. Please seek out some of these people from your district and talk to them and ask them what this program has meant to them. You have before you a funding request from Watch, and it represents nearly a third of our budget. We have no promise that we'll be able to make up these funds from other sources going forward. If we can't make up the difference, we will have to curtail our services that we provide in our 3 satellite or our 3 free clinics. I implore you to consider the impact that this will have on the care of our patients that we see in our clinics. You know, I think one of the greatest things that one can obtain in one's life is peace of mind. And I can't think of anything greater than peace of mind in regard to one's health and knowing that one is healthy or that one's health care needs will be met. For the healthy regard of the citizens of Wayne County, please fund our program.
Thank you, Dr. Gaither. I did fail to mention that when you're making your comments, if you could keep them to 2 or 3 minutes, we'd appreciate it, but we're not going to really stick to that right to the second, but we would like to keep it as you know, in that 3 or 4 minute range. Anyone else have any comments at the public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, could I, if I could go next, and we have 4 minutes here, so this is very helpful. I thank you for doing this. My name is Murray Porter. I live at 120 Dearborn Drive here in Goldsboro. In 1988, I moved here with my family as the, you would call me the market president of the Wachovia Bank. And I retired in 2004. I know some of you, and some of you may know me. The Watch people sort of know me as the money man, and if I could take care of what you all are giving us, I'd be glad to do it. But in 1999, I was chairman of the board of the hospital. James Hubble was the president of the hospital at that time. He was here before Bill Paul. And we got together and began to talk about what are some ways in the county, what are some things we can do to help improve the health of Wayne County. So we sent out a survey, we had a big meeting, and you fellows were not county commissioners at that time, but that group came to our meeting. It was overflowing. The room was packed. Your chairman was there, commissioners were there, your sheriff was there, the mayor was there, city councilman were there. Mr. Parker, I think, was there. His memory might be better than mine, but I think Mr. Parker was there. The Chamber of Commerce, the whole county came together, and we talked about things we could do, and we all left that meeting saying, we're going to do something. So I was sort of elected as the guy who's got to go raise some money and let's do something. So we came up with 4 things we wanted to do initially, and I don't remember all of the 4, but one of them was access to care, medical care, better access. One was Dr. Gaither's suggestion of helping people who were alcoholics and had drug problems. Teenage pregnancy was another one of the initiatives. But a medical van to go around the county and to help take care of uninsured people who had no health insurance was not one of the initiatives. That came about 2 years later when Dr. Gaither came up with the idea for us. He said, we can do this if we raise the money. So we went to the Duke Endowment, we went to the Kate B. Reynolds Fund, and we raised $500,000. We've been back to them many years since. We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars of outside the county. I came back to you folks and asked for money, and you asked me at that time. The county commissioner said, what are you doing? How much are you raising in the community? Well, our first year we raised $20,000, and I raised most of it. Now I've got a group, and some of them are here that help me. The hospital helps me. We got up to, we're raising about $125,000. Some call it a golf tournament. I start work about the 1st of June, and I don't quit until the end of October, raising this money in the community. I've only got a minute left. I got to talk fast. But the point is, without you all being on board, we couldn't raise this money from out of the county. I couldn't raise this money from in the county. A lot of it's coming from family foundations. They ask me, is the county involved? Is the city involved? I've been able to say yes. So I implore you to, I would like to just ask you to please reconsider cutting us to zero. Please don't pull out. It's going to affect my fundraising. It's going to affect Ms. Elmore's fundraising, and we would hope you would not. I thank you for all you've done. My last thought is, please also don't put this program back on the hospital. When we started this thing, the hospital gave us its health foundation. It's called Wayne Health Foundation as an umbrella, so we didn't have to pay to go out and start our own nonprofit. We operated under their umbrella, but we were independent of the hospital. They gave us the money they had left in that little foundation. I don't remember what it was. I think it was $3,000. But they gave that to us. If this thing were to fall back on the hospital now, we are independent. This county is fortunate to have its own hospital. Violet Hospital has eaten up everything in the east. We don't want Rex to come after us. I'm not on the board. I haven't talked to the hospital board about these comments. But we don't want to be anything but independent. And if this additional pressure of keeping up watch is placed on the hospital, it's just going to be something else that pulls their balance sheet down. I thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else have any comments?
Yes, I'd like to say good morning. My name is Jimmy Ford. I live at 111 Homestead Drive, Goldsboro, North Carolina. On behalf of the WATCH program, we heard earlier that Chris Stone and Chris Cowan receiving an award for being one of the first, and they have been successful. Well, the WATCH program is one of the first not only in the state but in the nation. I think we're doing some wonderful work for the citizens of Wayne County. Helped so many people. I personally have been on the board. I can't remember. I've been on it so many years. And I've been there and asked to continue to be there, because if we have a program that's working in Wayne County for its citizens, it's the WATCH program. We are helping people to sustain their life for the betterment. I tell you, lives have been turned around because of the WATCH program. People of Wayne County need that. Of course, you the fathers of Wayne County, and we look for you for guidance, we look for you protection, and we look to you for help. So we're asking that you please reconsider the funding process that we're about to undertake here. It's a program, gentlemen, that is working for Wayne County. And I believe that all the citizens of Wayne County are real proud to have it. And I'm quite sure you are really proud. So I'm asking you to please consider it. We have been looked upon as being one of the best health care providers, not only in the state, but in the nation. So let's do not follow what we already have going. We have something going good here. So we pray and hope that it will continue for the betterment of the citizens of Wayne County. Thank you, sir, for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Anyone else?
Mr. Commissioners, my name is William Samuel McAlilly II. I'm in Mr. Daugherty's district. I've spoken to him once while he was running for office. I am a WATCH patient, have been for 8 years, could not be originally because WATCH didn't have the money to take new patients. I didn't know it, but at the time I was dying When I came to watch, when they opened up the rolls, my blood pressure was over 200, my blood sugar was over 400, and the nurse practitioner was worried that I might stroke out right there. And he insisted I immediately go and get my prescription filled once I went to their fair because they opened their rolls. It is not a duty of Wayne Memorial Hospital to do this. It is not a duty of the county commission to do this. If you read what was in the paper for the first time, Wayne Memorial Hospital agreed to do indigent patient services. In context, one would believe that would mean in the hospital after I stroke out, after I have a diabetic coma. Then they will take care of me. They've gone well beyond this in a miracle of an idea that worked for 15 years, and they didn't have enough to take care of everybody, but they came up with money each and every chance they had, and Ms. Elmore evidently was able to find grants when she could, and brought in the other indigent people who had not been cared for. And I got brought in by a health fair that was right there on Berkeley Boulevard by Seymour Johnson, and it spoke highly of what this community is about. We're about America. But America is flawed, and if you cut it off, you will now change from being the good part of America to the flawed part of America. Mr. Pate, I know from the ESC, I could never get a real job in this county. I was not allowed to, because I have my little difficulties, too much education. But that education also tells me that you've misinterpreted the contract. The contract had nothing to do with Watch. Watch is everything more than the contract. They have provided care to us who are too indigent to even, I knew I probably needed doctor care. I did not have a penny, much less $175 to see a doctor. And then Watch opened its rolls, and I found out I was grievously ill, and I was able to get medication. And it pleases me to no end to be able to be here. And I would like to thank Dr. Gaither, but he's gone. But Ms. Cicely Elmore has been here evidently from the start. I thank her for her diligent efforts, incredible efforts that aren't matched anywhere in the nation. Watch Care should have been Obamacare. That is all the nation can afford, and you can afford it, and you now, for unknown reasons, I think because you think the hospital has a legal duty under your contract, it has no such duty, best I can tell. It doesn't have the duty to do anything for the indigent outside of the hospital. When they show up at the emergency room, then the hospital has that duty. I don't want to be the one that went to the emergency room, and yet, had they not opened their rolls, I would have been there within a year or two at 200 and 400 and climbing, and I didn't know I had it. I felt I was healthy, but I didn't feel any of it. But Watch made it possible, and all I can say is we're losing the good part of America. We got Obamacare. Obamacare, we were told, was built on 4 lies by Mr. Gruber, Professor Gruber. 4 lies. And he did it in order to pass Obamacare. 18 U.S.C. 371 says he committed a fraud on America. And the newspapers won't write it, the GOP won't talk about it, the Democrats won't talk about it, but we were defrauded by Obamacare. And you all are going to at least have to recognize that unless you fund it, you have taken away a miracle of Wayne County, something that you would have been proud of, and you're the board that destroyed the county's connection to this wonderful program.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Yes, I'd just like to make a few comments. I don't know if you all read the article in the News Argus a couple of days ago, but it pointed out some...
We pretty much keep up with the News Argus.
But it pointed out some very good information.
Name, please.
I'm sorry, Susan McCall. I'm not Ms. Elmore. I live at 508 Walnut Creek Drive. Sorry about that. But I just wanted to point out that Watch is much more than health care for this county. We are involved in the teen pregnancy in the high schools. If you care to check those statistics, we've made a big impact in that area. Stony Creek Park, something else we've worked on. I was in the money that you have given, it's $1.2 million so far. Ms. Elmore has solicited $2.6 million in grants for this county to be used in all different ways, not just health care. So it's not just impacting people who need the care that Watch provides, but it's impacting a lot of other county citizens as well. So please reconsider your ideas for your budget and fund this program. It's one of the best things this county has going for it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tom Drew, P.O. Box 587, Goldsboro 27533. And there's other kinds of medicine. And the forum is the medicine for me. I got a patient on artificial life support. As a teacher of democracy, I'm a doctor of democracy, got a patient on artificial life support. Her name's Liberty. She's hurting big time.
Mr. Drew, let's keep to the subject.
Yes. Integral to securing that medicine is a public records request at the county manager's office on the 14th of May, seeking the names and appropriate contact information for the Arts Council of Wayne County to provide some much needed oversight in a conflict resolution. Was provided the names days later. No contact information. Followed up with that, addressing that reality and clarifying that I considered the county manager's office with the upcoming review of nonprofits would have that information to secure that this board can secure oversight of the taxes invested in nonprofits. Communications continue to evolve. I included the Wayne County Historical Society in request for names and appropriate contact info of its board and trustees. And did get another response that information was not available from the county manager's office. I did another email on the 29th that hopefully was forwarded to this board. I numbered each line. Line 19 has this clarifying why I recognize my request initially and since as reasonably directed to the appropriate source, the county manager's office. And the county manager's office does not have that information at present. The question is that so, when will it, if will it, if not, why? And then in line 24, for added clarity, to secure that the Wayne County Commissioners have benefit of foresight, oversight, and hindsight as needed to secure that the Wayne County taxes are wisely invested in nonprofits, is to welcome here in the online forum the Wayne County Commissioners' answers, opinions, suggestions, and additional questions to questions raised in line 19 above. It seems like when people apply for grants, they would give you contact information of their leadership. And it doesn't seem to exist. To me, education, mighty fine medicine to secure the forum that the Arts Council was proposing by open mic nights. That's a night for me to get and give much needed medicine. Entertainment, to entertain and be entertained, to make democracy entertainable, and to be denied that is to find out why I was denied my medicine and others there as well. And this will be ongoing until I get some reasonable answers. Yes, it took 14 years to get a public records request from ECU up there researching proactively a flawed workshop on suicide credited to ECU.
Again, Mr. Drew, stick to the subject, please.
Health and well-being. Proactive research.
Your time's up, Mr. Drew. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else have any comments?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Pat Gates, the Executive Director of Literacy Connections of Wayne County. I'm accompanied today by our Board Chairman, Joe Bodie of First Citizens Bank. You have notes on everything I'm saying in front of you, and I'm going to try and move quickly because there's a lot to cover. First of all, honorable commissioners, I want to thank you for the recommended funding for our 2015-2016 budget year of $1,001, which will provide for the 2.5 leadership positions of Literacy Connections. Your leadership and your support mean everything to the people of Wayne County. I want to share with you that Literacy Connections does track complete demographic data, including race, citizenship status, employment, employers, and Seymour Johnson Air Force Base affiliation for all of its students through our registration, hard copy, and database records. LCWC presents that data in aggregate to its funders and any member of the public who requests this information. You have our registration document and our first quarter report on this data in your packet. In our most recent quarter, the first 3 months of this year, 62% of our students were U.S. citizens, and 35% of them were U.S. permanent residents. 48% were employed by major industries, 16% were associated with employment with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, 12% were employed by medical agencies, 10% were employed by government agencies, and 9% were employed by education agencies. You have a pie chart and a numerical chart associated that shows that information. Literacy Connections, as does all North Carolina Literacy Councils and all U.S. Literacy Councils, serves two major student populations, native-born Americans and international residents. Wayne County is an international county. The largest employers in Wayne County are the group that are associated with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. I grew up in the military, living on military bases. My father was a 30-year veteran. Our students include Seymour Johnson Air Force Base employees, the family members, the wives, the spouses, the in-laws, the siblings of active duty and veteran military personnel. The other great group that is represented here are our students who are employed through medical, health, human services, technology industries here. Many of the 64 major industries located in Wayne County have in fact worked with the State Department to bring groups of international persons here to serve in special capacities. All of these are legal residents of Wayne County and also taxpayers. The major grantors of Literacy Connections, AmeriCorps and the United States United Way of Wayne County, require a non-discrimination policy from Literacy Connection and require our compliance with their statements of non-discrimination in order to provide for the funds for 4 of our employment positions, 3 of our teachers and our financial educator. Those funds are valued at $124,000 annually, and they provide us with operating funds of $35,000. If we abrogate access and deny open access to students to Literacy Connections, well, then we could possibly lose that funding. I've had those initial discussions. My board of directors have met, and they've asked me to present you with an option. That they would like to adopt a policy that Literacy Connections of Wayne County will not use county funds to provide services to any client who is not a legal resident of Wayne County. That effective July 2015, Literacy Connection clients will be required to provide a Social Security or tax ID number. We do request that now, but we require it before services are provided at the time of registration to document their citizenship status. Literacy Connection of Wayne County will include a report by student identification number of the affirmation of Social Security tax ID number, race, citizenship status, employment status, and Seymour Johnson Air Force Base affiliation with its quarterly reports, which we currently present to the County of Wayne. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Yates. Anyone else have any comments?
Bob Jackson, 109 Aurora Lane, Goldsboro. It seems this morning our major topic is watch. I know that there's lots of nonprofits, even in Wayne County, that do good things. I think you as a board have the greatest job in making those selections. I don't think we would find any place, any directives or mandates to this board that says you must fund any of them. I don't know that that is part of your responsibility as a commission board. I know that Watch does good things, It is my understanding, as opposed to what you've already heard, that by contract, this hospital is obligated to take care of those that can't do for themselves in the health area. Now, if they choose to farm that out to someone like Watch, then that would be fine. But I believe they should still fund that, or they could bring it in-house and do it through the emergency room. But I don't know that it's the responsibility of the taxpayers of Wayne County to do this. I believe it's the hospital's responsibility, and they can do satellite locations or watch type programs, whatever they choose to do. But in my opinion, it should not be on the backs of the taxpayer to do that. I don't envy your positions. I know it's a tough job. There are sometimes, I'm sure, in your own minds as to what you should do or shouldn't do on certain things. But I would just recommend that you, as you continue to do, and I commend you for what you've already done in the area of nonprofits, and let's see if we can't find other ways to fund these programs. I believe there's probably funds available even in Wayne County, but I don't know that it needs to be shouldered, or this portion of it, by the taxpayers of Wayne County. Thank you for all you do. It's tough, and I know it is, but just keep on doing what you're doing. And I believe that the majority of Wayne County individuals, taxpayers, would agree with my position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Anyone else have any comments?
We saved the best for last.
Good morning. My name is Kate Daniels, and I'm so pleased to have with me Charity Johnson from the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce. We are here to thank you for your past support and ongoing support of the many initiatives and programs of the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce. In recent years, we have had some financial turmoil with the Chamber, and folks, we are so pleased to tell you that we are on the right direction. We're making the turn, and we're just real fortunate for the leadership that we have. With the structure of our Total Resource Campaign, the Chamber is producing 115 programs and events throughout the year. And last year marked the first year of growth for the Chamber in terms of members that we are serving in our community. We are currently serving 579 businesses that collectively employ around 35,000 local residents. Last year, the Chamber's website had 75,892 page views, highlighting the ever-growing connection the Chamber has in our community. And just to highlight a couple of things that we're doing, we are working to further grow our community through areas such as, and I'm going to keep this list brief within my 2-minute period of time, but in governmental affairs, we're working on behalf of the business and the legislative area, both on the local, state, and federal level. We're working with our local delegation with the annual Eggs and Issues breakfast that many of you all attend, Business Summit in DC representation, State of the Region, and North Carolina Legislation Day with the North Carolina Chamber of Commerce. In business development, we're working hand in hand with Wayne Community College. You all are work very closely and intimately with the Works, and Wayne County being the first nationally recognized community in the state of North Carolina, leading the way in work-ready workforce with 27%, which is absolutely unbelievable. You all understand how important it is to have a community where we have people that are ready to go to work. This past year, we developed My Chamber app. We are all on social media. We've got to be connected. So while we deliver one-on-one opportunities for our businesses here in Wayne County, we've taken a step further to do this app. So you with smartphones, download the app. It is My Chamber app. And it's been utilized in the past couple of months, over 1,324 unique visitors. And we launched Seymour Savings. This is a new thing that we've just recently done. And that is, of course, in working with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base to show our military men and women that the business community here is so happy that they're here with us, be it for 2 years, for the rest of their career, or whether they go somewhere else and their families choose to come back here and move here.
Our young professionals group, they're committed to the advancement of the 21 to 40-year-old workforce, focusing on the development of the future business leaders. They orchestrated the Goldsboro Christmas Parade since 2013, did a fabulous job. They assisted present and future community leaders in efforts to prepare for leadership positions in our community and government affairs. The county's own Pamela Adams from the IT department, Maurice Green of Facilities Services, and Melissa Stevens of Wayne County Public Library graduated 2 weeks ago from this 9-month program, and that is the leadership program. I'm sorry, I didn't say that earlier. The county does play a pivotal role in the Law and Government Day for both Leadership Wayne and our Junior Leadership Program, and they graciously provide transportation through the use of the bus. So thank you.
And also the Wayne Education Network. This past year we had 1,500 8th grade students come to the Goldsboro Family YMCA and over 89 businesses present. The hope here is that 7th to 8th grade period is a pivotal time where a student can lose focus, and we want to hopefully spark a fire in these students. So people ask me on a regular basis when we're that time of year doing that, and we did a STEM fair this year, I thought y'all were business for business. And we are. We're in business for business that is here now and the future of business, which they are in first period right now in our schools. We do many grants, annual teacher welcome breakfast, many things under the Wayne Education Network. And of course, I work with military affairs. We have 138 members of our military affairs program and offer the state of the military and just a wonderful connection in our community. So not only do we want to attract investments that increase the tax base and provide more jobs, we want to retain these businesses. We want these businesses to thrive in our communities, for the owners and the employees to raise their children and their grandchildren here, to be involved in our schools and our churches and in our neighborhoods. The work that the Chamber is doing is incredibly relevant to our community's health. I come to you with a thankful heart for your past and ongoing support. And there's that old saying that together we can, but in our community, I truly believe that together we will, and we thank you for your commitment to moving our community forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Will we going to be allowed to ask any questions during this? We talked about.
Yeah.
Could I revert back for a minute and ask Ms. Shapes to come back up, please? I got a couple of questions I'd like to ask, if that's okay?
That's fine.
Excuse my voice, I about lost it, but maybe you can understand me. I was looking at what you proposed here from your literacy board. I want to ask you a question. How can you, since you have county funds, city funds, and private funds, how are you going to know, how are you going to keep this separate? You're saying that you will not use county funds to provide services to any client. How are you going to keep that separate?
Yesterday afternoon, my executive committee met to design a process for that. And Don Magoon, who is our treasurer, he has worked with other agencies who've done this sort of process before. So we can establish the price per hour for any student. And if there's a student about which there is any question, they will not be allowed to participate. Let's say that your funding represents a certain percentage of our hours. Any student for whom we cannot confirm through a secondary source their status as a citizen, then we would only allow them very limited access to us to be beneath that level of funding.
Okay. So your board actually used a model from other literacy connections? Is that
From
right?
other literacy agencies, other nonprofits. This is not the first time this issue, I imagine, has arisen about making sure that agencies have the particular population served they'd like to be served. So there are existing models that have done that, have been able to use a metric to identify the funding and the sources and what should be available to do that. But as you see, out of the 161 students we served in the first 3 months, only 4 did not give us Social Security numbers. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're illegal aliens. That may be because our students are illiterate, and many of them don't write at all. Many of them are not very well organized. I have any number of students who cannot come in and speak for themselves. They give me their a card with their information written on it. Some of them say, my mother, and this may be adults, or my wife has that information, I don't have it, it's a little hard to track down. Some of them may have given us information, but it's indecipherable, we have to track them down and get, so out of the 161, 4 we had questions about. 4 we could not confirm employment, we could not confirm their status, we had 4. So it's not a significant number.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Payton.
What you're proposing, Ms. Yates, you know, and following the model that you guys have come up with, it would not impact your fundraising for other grants and that kind of thing?
No, it would not. Because we would not be denying access. We would still have an open door policy. We would just say that we would only allow students access to the full extent of our services if they could be covered under resources provided by other agencies.
So with the agreement we would have with you, then it would not really impact services overall, correct?
This has been a difficult issue for me to investigate because I've spoken with 3 different legal entities to try and figure this out. And unfortunately, the only way that I can test whether this will have an impact on our funding would be to deny services to someone and wait and see if there's a lawsuit that ensues. When I spoke with the AmeriCorps, which provides us with 3 teachers, they told me informally that it was illegal to e-verify students. And so I asked them, could they give me a legal opinion for that? And they are embedded with the University of North Carolina university system. And they said they would turn it over to their attorneys for an opinion. But I asked them to hold off on that until we had a conversation. When I spoke with Steve Parr of United Way, he said he would have to have his board attorney give an opinion. I asked him to hold off on that until we had questions. He gave us his non-discrimination statement, which I've included in this packet. So I'm not an attorney. I can't make that adjudication, but it is a great concern to us that would affect our funding to other agencies. And we have an attorney who serves on our board. He's not on contract as our attorney, but he said his opinion was that it would be actually an illegal action for us to take to e-verify students, as the e-verify system is intended to e-verify employers. I have a statement, I didn't bring it here, from the college, the community college, which has the most similar population to ours. And they e-verify their faculty and staff, but they do not e-verify their international students. They don't do that check on their international students. They accept documents from them and process them through.
Well, you can have international students that are legal to be here, so that shouldn't be a problem.
I think that's part of the confusion when I read in the newspapers that, you know, we do have international students here associated with the base and business industry and technology, medicine, et cetera. But they are not illegal aliens. They're not undocumented persons. They're just international students.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bailey.
I would just like to make a comment. I think we as commissioners need to be very careful that we don't put this program in jeopardy because we are asking for all these, what you might say, unreal things here. I would not want, and then if the people live here in Wayne County, we ought to want them to read and write and do arithmetic, regardless of where they're from, if they're living here in Wayne County. I mean, the program is a good program, and we ought to just kind of chill out here and let the lady do her job and not put all these strings on her program. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just one short comment. As I look down the list of students that you all serve, in Mount Olive, I come in contact with a good number of the folks who are not traditionally from Wayne County. And they're working for companies, as I stated earlier, they're working for companies who depend on them being able to read and so forth. I had an occasion several days ago to try to help some folk weed their way through the process with Duke Energy. It was a nightmare for me. So I know it was 2 nightmares for them. So I agree with Mr. Needy.
May I share with you that the largest number of illiterate adults in Wayne County is in South Goldsboro, in the Lincoln Homes, Seymour Johnson Homes, Courtyard Homes area. However, the most intense population by far is between Dudley and Seven Springs, and that is where you have are largely Hispanic. When we talk about undocumented aliens, we may have one or two that are Haitians, but generally it is people who live in southern Goldsboro. We have not been able to open a program there. Medical community has asked us to do that, but we don't have the resources to do that. But that's where it's most intense, and of course that engenders the crime rate, the poverty rate, the poor health rate, et cetera, in that area. So at some time in the future, we'd like to look at that, but we know that would not be possible at this time.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Just a matter of information, did we not have the budget contract for literacy at our last meeting, budget meeting last Thursday? The one that was proposed? I'm trying to, the reason I'm asking is I want to read the difference between what has been presented versus what we're.
It's in the budget message.
Oh, okay. All right, I was looking under the literacy connections here.
Yep.
But,
We'll bring that up in the budget.
but here, going a step further, is that I believe in, for instance, the school system in Wayne County, State Community College, even illegals are eligible to go to our schools. Wayne County, the citizens of Wayne County taxpayers support what goes on in our county through the Board of Education. Now, being on the Health Board and the DSS Board, we're serving, if a family of 8 are in Wayne County and only one's a citizen, the rest of the family gets health coverage. So the bottom line is that what we're doing is I agree with Commissioner Bell. We are restricting what is already in place through other parts of our government, even here on the Wayne County level. So I'm just saying that, yes, we better off for these people to learn how to speak. For example, how about giving me the case that you had mentioned a few days ago about the lady that's working for the turkey plant? Okay, don't go into specifics, but what I want to do, whether they're legal or illegal, give us this example of the literacy connection, what you did, and why it's important. And furthermore, if this person, could they go anywhere else to get the same service that you provided? Would you please give that example?
We have a Haitian lady who's raised 3 adult children successfully in Wayne County. She's been long-term employed at Butterball. She works a 10-hour shift at Butterball and then comes to my evening classes to try and improve her English. It's hard to stay awake, but she does. She came to me in a quandary because she'd been getting a number of letters and no one in her community could read them. They were complex. And finally, a police officer appeared at her door and told her that if she did not resolve the situation, she would be placed in jail that Sunday. The situation was that she had paid for her car insurance in Mount Olive. She had paid for her car insurance, but the vendor that accepted it was a con artist or whatever. I went online immediately and found out there were multiple cases against him. And he did not submit her insurance payment to the state. So her car she'd been notified in writing, but she doesn't read, that her car was operating illegally without insurance. And they took her tags, and they said she didn't solve that. By Friday of that week, she would be picked up on Sunday and put in jail. So there are some kind-hearted local attorneys that assist me behind the scenes. They don't want me to use their names. And they agreed that they would help us navigate the system to find out what the history was. And indeed, they found out. That's the only thing she ever had on her record. She didn't know what to do. So a local attorney volunteered to work with us, and we talked to your system and got it investigated and the charges set aside. And she paid whatever fine was associated and got her license plate back. But she had no one to go to intervene for her, to help her to resolve this. And she would have been in jail. She would have lost her job. She'd have been in our system. She would have had a criminal record. And it's just because she couldn't read. And she's a really good person. But that is a small-scale issue, but it costs us a lot of money. Some of you who know me may see me in court sometimes when our students have been in error. And one of the unpredicted things, which I shared in my budget request, you may have read, I was very honored the day before Sheriff Winder passed away to sit right where I'm sitting now in the pew here. And I was a little scared that he was going to talk to me because I didn't know how he would feel about our students. He thanked me. He said that his officers were safer working the streets of Goldsboro, North Carolina, because when they stopped an international person, they could communicate with them, they could tell them, and they could understand. And secondly, that in the past they've been very fearful of them. Many of our students come from countries where they are beaten and imprisoned for minor things, and they're terrified of authority. And that the students are much more comfortable, and many of them would even be able to say, Miss Pat. That's what they all call me, Miss Pat. You know, I'll talk to Miss Pat. So I do try and prevent them from becoming embroiled in an issue, a medical issue. I help them file for patient support services at the hospital, issues that will cost us as a county a significant money.
Thank you, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else have any questions for Ms. Yates?
I just have a comment.
Okay.
You know, at some point in time, we as elected officials, what looks good on paper doesn't necessarily look good. At some point in time, we may need to stop looking at saving pennies and look at the total picture. We are called a step higher than saving money. I've learned since I've been a commissioner, everybody says, if you want to know what's going on, follow the money. I say following the money should be the least priority. We need to follow the people. And we need to do what's right for the people majority of the time. Sometimes it doesn't look good as good when you implement it as it does on paper. So I'm saying, as an individual commissioner, that in this particular case, we need to look at people's lives rather than the pennies or dollars that we might save. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to make a brief comment. No one on this board is questioning the need and what the contributions of these agencies are. But as elected officials, we've got a responsibility to spend the taxpayers' dollars as economically as we can. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea that I'm against the nonprofits, because I'm for them. But there again, we have to be real careful on how we appropriate these funds. We strive to keep the tax base at where it's at. We're very fortunate that our tax rate is not as high as it is in a lot of counties. And that's one of the ways that we can maintain it. We do appreciate what the nonprofits do, but there again, I'm speaking not as the chairman, I'm speaking as an individual taxpayer. I want this board to manage the money as economically as we can. And I do have a heartburn on some of the amounts of money that this county is spending. I have my own nonprofit groups that I support. That's my choice. This board is making a choice for the citizens of Wayne County, and I just want to make sure that we are making the right decisions. That's my comments. Anyone else?
Just one question, Ms. Yates.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the information. It's a lot of information to try to read back and forth. So just a quick question, just a curious question. When these students come to you, is there a fee or any type of sliding scale or anything?
No. If you look at the last tab, it's our board of directors, our mission is there, and it's to provide free literacy services to all adults. And the reason for that is that 96% of our students live at below the poverty level. 61% of the students live in extreme poverty. And one of our goals as an agency is to remove barriers from their ability to participate. We do actively fundraise, write grants, seek out other agencies and support, And each year, if you see, the board has seen is each year our reliance on your funding has shifted. We've developed some other sources of revenue, but it's very hard to find grants to provide for major employees. They don't like to do that. So we do rely on those 2.5 positions for your assistance, and you have been delightful in providing for those. But no, we do not charge a fee. Our students volunteer, they help us fundraise, they helped us at our literacy fair, they do positive things to the community in return, but we do not charge them a fee.
Okay.
May I make one statement? One of my important things today was to share with you. I think there was a concept that my students were not taxpayers. My students are taxpayers. In some ways, they are heavily taxed. When an international student is brought to Wayne County from another country like China, they're allowed to come with one suitcase. They're taken to an empty apartment where they sleep on the carpet the first night. They must buy everything. A new home, usually buy 1 or 2 cars, their furniture, their pots, their pans, their towels, their blankets, everything. They immediately become major participants in our economy by both employment and by purchasing major articles, all articles of life on a grand scale. They come with one large suitcase for everything. So they need to buy everything. They are significant taxpayers. Thank you so much, gentlemen. You've been gracious and lovely. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments to make at the public hearing on the budget? Anyone else? If not, the public hearing is closed. Thank y'all. Thank all of you for your comments. We will take everything that has been said this morning, because we have not voted on the budget. We will consider your request, and we'll move forward. Thank y'all. Let's take a short 5-minute break. We're back in session. We're running about 20 minutes late. Our public comment session is at 10 o'clock. We're running about 20 minutes late. If anyone has any comments to make, please come forward, or you're limited to 4 minutes. Anyone have any public comments?
A motion at the end of the session.
Mr. Drew, we're going to be kind to you today and give you 8 minutes. Not
Yes,
now.
well,
but
these
in
are
total.
interrelated matters, and in regards to one person up there just a short while ago, make sure we make the right decisions. That's my objective, is to help you do so. Tom Drew, P.O. Box 587, Goldsboro 27533. Hopefully all other nonprofits are great medicine and do not complement such nonprofits as Wish and Watch. That my findings of fact in a recent public records request to the county manager's office is that in absence of the essential contact info to secure the abilities of the commissioners to provide foresight, oversight, and hindsight in investing Wayne County taxes in nonprofits, their abilities to do so is wishy-washy. I did send to y'all email on the 29th titled Perplexing Missing Forward. Got all these perplexing things. I write better than I talk most times. And there is one section 30 or line. As research of internet cafes integral to findings of fact for inclusion to this online form for securing the amended election protest of the 2014 elections and for inclusion to preparation of open letter to U.S. Attorney Thomas G. Walker is ongoing. By this letter as a public records request, I requested the Wayne County Manager's Office copies of any and all contracts that evolved out of the new Wayne County ordinances governing the operation and taxation for internet cafes in Wayne County, and any data containing the names of those internet cafes, names of those owners, and appropriate contact information the Wayne County Commissioners or the County Manager's Office would use to address with those owners any of concerns about fair business practices in Wayne County. U.S. Attorney Thomas G. Walker was in the news a few weeks ago, basically going to shut down these internet cafes statewide. I've been relying on them as my backup internet access, and from the get-go, since August of 2010, when I was covering the Cesar Loren trial, I knew I needed some backup then beyond the library. There's some most perplexing matters of fair business practices involved. I can't even get them to tell me who the owners are and how to communicate with them. And these places are closing down. Hopefully the next meeting, public comment, I'll have the letter to Thomas G. Walker addressing the perplexing matters of concern, but beyond the sweepstakes. That basically right now Wayne County needs desperately not one, several viable internet cafes so we can catch up with the rest of the nation on the internet. These cafes right now. But back to the forum, education, meeting the needs of Wish and Watch. The hospital is doing a Living Well presentation. The last one was vascular health. And one of the two speakers at the end, I asked, where do the doctors and nurses go for healthy, in-depth open discussion about health and well-being? The answer is, that is a difficult question to answer. There is an answer. I hope to share next public comment.
Thanks, Mr. Drew. Anyone else have any comments? No one has any comments. Public comment section is closed. Mr. Gurley, you have anything for the appointment committee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the appointment committee met this morning. We have several recommendations to give to the board this morning. They are as follows. I'd like to recommend the reappointment of Yvonne McLam and the appointments of Mr. Jimmy Ford and Ms. Linda Hopper to the Eastern Carolina Regional Aging Advisory Committee, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Our second one, Mr. Chairman, is I'd like to recommend the reappointments of Brent Heath, Joe Daughtery, and Joe Gurley to the Goldsboro-Wayne Transportation Authority. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Next, appointment committee would like to recommend the appointment of George Wayne Aycock to the Wayne Community College Board of Trustees. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Appointment committee would like to recommend the appointment of Mr. Ethan Sager as the chairman of the Wayne County ABC Board. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
The appointment committee would like to recommend the reappointment of Ms. Susan Davis to the Wayne County Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
The committee would like to recommend the reappointments of Mr. John L. Henderson to the Wayne County Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Board committee would like to recommend the reappointment of Ms. Barbara Aycock to the Wayne County Jury Commission. I'd like to put that in form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
And our eighth and final today is the appointment committee would like to recommend the reappointment of Mrs. Shirley McLam Edwards and Mr. Howard Scott to the Wayne County Public Library Board of Advisors. I'd like to put that in form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries
That
unanimous.
completes, Mr. Chairman.
Any unfinished business? Right, well, we can go ahead and do the consent agenda right quick.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval of the consent agenda.
I have a motion on the floor that we approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure that the intent is to include the number 7 that we added.
Yes, to include the approval of the contract to increase up to 5% annually for our contract with the firm doing our website.
That's right. After the 3rd year.
After the 3rd year.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor for the consent agenda. Any questions? If none, all in favor show sign of right hand. Okay. Let's, under new business, Mr. Wood, let's go ahead and get the, do the, gateway one, so,
Fred can go.
so Mr. Fred can go.
Fred, you want to go ahead?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
This is an item that affects our general public riders, and those are the folks that ride the service that live outside the city of Goldsboro. Currently, the fare for them to ride is $8 per one-way trip, and in most counties across the state, the going fare is in the $4 to $5 per one-way trip range. So this item was discussed by the Goldsboro Wayne Transportation Authority Board of Directors at their meeting last week on May 28th, and it was recommended to this board that the rate be decreased from $8 to $5 effective July 1st. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Fontana?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kamari.
I would just be interested to know over time how, I understand you voted to reduce it and you're typical, but could you just share with us how you were able to reduce that and stay in the black?
We have additional funding from the state of North Carolina that complements the fares that are paid by the general public as well, and we anticipate that the impact of reducing the fare will actually increase the number of riders. So it is our opinion that the revenue will actually increase because we'll have more riders that can afford to use the service.
That's good to hear. I live in Mount Olive, you know, I mean, I don't know that you know it not, but I do live in Mount Olive. And I've seen the trucks dashing back and forth about this rate reduction information made available in a very intense way can mean a lot for, I was just thinking about the employees at Butterball, a place like that. They're getting back and forth now, but I believe they haven't paid a little bit more than $5. Just the information's been tickling my ear. And so, number one, thank you. Number two, and I'm not saying that you're not, but let's get that information out in Haitian, Creole,
Well, I'm
Spanish,
glad
whatever.
you mentioned that. because we've got a couple of things coming out in the near future. We're putting together our ride guide that is actually going to go to print as soon as if you do act on the reduction on the fare. We weren't going to print it because it has the fare information in there. And that will be published in English and in Spanish. We also have a new website that I want everybody to be aware of, ridegwta.com. And there's a little button in the upper right-hand corner on that website that will translate into whatever language you want. It's called Google Translate. There's no charge for using that. So anything on our website will be available in whatever language you could think of. And there were several of those that I'd never heard of, but you can get it in that language.
Just to pick a page from a concept that my good friend Joe Dart had, billboards, and the reason I say billboards is because some of the population I come in contact with, they're not necessarily hooked up to the internet. What their entertainment is, they have a TV and a box that they show in videos. I mean, they have their own language videos. It's not coming over the regular airways. It's where they bought the videos, the movies, and so forth. So there's a lot of they entertain themselves, but not necessarily through the traditional airways like they're gonna go find on a website. My point is, let's try to, in certain locations where the populations are concentrated, we might need to think about having some kind of a billboard to splash it is sort of internationally understandable. Okay.
Yes, sir. We will be looking at any and all, and I'm willing to take any suggestions. And Mr. Daughtry, Mr. Gurley are on my board, and I'm sure they'll have their own suggestions as well. So
okay, we're getting off track. Our job is to vote on reducing the fares, and we're getting out in left field. So, what's the pleasure of the board,
Mr. Chairman? Let me make a motion that we authorize GWTA to reduce the general public fare from $8 to $5 one way effective January the 1st.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
Did you say January 1st?
I'm sorry, July the 1st. Did I say January? Yes, I apologize.
You were just trying to pad the kitty a little bit, Joe.
I'm trying to get past this year. Effective July 1st.
We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of the right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Fred, for the job you do for us.
Thank you.
Let's go back up to item number 1, Mr. Wood.
Okay. Chip, you want to handle that? Sure.
Item number 1 is a subdivision plat approval for North Landing Section 2. Final subdivision, owner developer is Northfield Developers LLC. Bobby Carnegie is the surveyor. It's located in the Stony Creek Township off Church of God Road. It's SR 1574, lots 6 through 21. The subdivision is 16 residential lots and 6 septic lots for off-site initial and repair. It is on the south side of Church of God Road, 1/2 of a mile east of its intersection with Sawston Road. The development contains a 1.774 acre open space lot to meet the requirements of the Wayne County Stormwater Ordinance. North Landing Section 1 was developed as roadfront lots, 1 through 5 along that front on Church of God Road. North Landing Section 2 are internal lots. They'll be accessed by public streets, North Landing Drive, North Dove Lane, Northfield Drive, and Northfield Place. The property is zoned CA for height restrictions only. The property is shown within the rural enclave area of the Wayne County Growth Strategy map. Access from Church of God Road will be through North Landing Drive. It's currently vacant land. It is in the Charles B. Aycock High School, North Wayne Middle, Northeast Elementary School Districts. It's serviced by Belfast Paytown Sanitary District. Paytown Fire Department will be response, EMS Station 5. It is within the Goldsboro MPO for transportation planning. It is not in a water supply watershed. It is not in a voluntary ag district. There are no wetlands present, and it's in Board of Commissioners District 5. The Wayne County Planning Board recommends that the plat be approved.
Any questions for Chip?
Just get my orientation. This way down is Church of God, and that's headed back to Antioch to the right.
Church of God is,
Back to your left.
correct.
Okay. I'm just trying to get more orientation. I know exactly where it is.
It's, just east of, I guess that's what you consider Paytown.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that, we accept the plat as approved, as recommended.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion or any other questions for Chip? If none, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 3, I'd like to read that resolution, please. And in reading this resolution, I take great pride in reading this resolution because this is a very touching and emotional thing that happened in Wayne County. Whereas pursuant to North Carolina General Status 136.18/8, the North Carolina Board of Transportation may name roads, bridges, and ferries, and whereas the Wayne County Board of Commissioners desires to honor North Carolina Department of Transportation Engineering Technician William Gary Bailey, who lost his life on March 23, 2015, while performing his job related to duties in Wayne County, and whereas William Gary Bailey believed in the importance of community service and exemplified his public service commitment to serving as a dedicated firefighter with the Bethany Volunteer Fire Department and lending a helping hand whenever needed in his community. And whereas William Gary Bailey cherished his family and friends, including his wife, Nellie Pipkin Bailey, and twin daughters, Lida, Gail, and Vera Lee. Whereas the family of William Gary Bailey supports the request of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners to name a section of the western portion of the new U.S. Highway 70 bypass in his honor. And whereas the Wayne County Board of Commissioners understands the North Carolina Board of Transportation criteria to have a road, bridge, or ferry named in honor of a individual, that individual must be living or be deceased for 1 year or longer. Therefore, be it resolved that the Wayne County Board of Commissioners does hereby request the North Carolina Board of Transportation reserve a section of western portion of U.S. Highway 70 Goldberg Bypass to be named for William Gary Bailey until such time the date of his death complies with the North Carolina Board of Transportation policy and procedures for naming road, bridges, and ferries. Adopted this day, 2nd day of June 2015, George Wayne Aycock Jr. Chairman, and I would like to put this in form of a motion. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous. And Ms. Marshall, I would like to thank you in the wording of this resolution. I think it was very fitting and appropriate. Thank you. Mr. Wood, budget amendments?
We have,
It's my understanding Johnston County is also going to adopt a resolution supporting your resolution since he lived in Johnston County.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our first budget amendment today is number 475. It's for the Cooperative Extension Service, and is to adjust the line items in Cooperative Extension, total of $10,000. The reason this is before you is because it is above the $5,000 mark.
Pleasure of the board on budget amendment 475.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Warren.
Be approved.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
We're just moving funds.
We're just transferring line item funds.
If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
The next budget amendment is for the Department of Social Services. It's for a total of $36,200. It is also to transfer line items we'll have to have some of these sometimes at the very end of the year. We're at June now, so you will see some of these coming forward.
Pleasure to board.
Motion to approve amendment 476.
Have a motion on the floor on budget 476. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Budget amendment number 478 is from the Wayne County Public Schools. It is for $37,797.94. This budget amendment is in their capital maintenance outlay fund. They did have a fund balance of over this amount, just a tad, but they've asked for $37,797.64 to be appropriated out of the fund balance, and they're using this for small works projects within the schools, maintenance projects.
Pleasure to board on budget amendment 478.
These are restricted funds for the schools.
Move to approve.
Have a motion on the floor. We approve budget 478. Any discussion?
Just a question. Is this rolling it over until next year? Is that what it's?
Well, if they don't spend it, it will roll over. This is where they're needing the money this year. If they spend it, you're giving them the authority to spend it this year.
Okay.
If they don't spend it, it will come back for you next year, and they can reappropriate it again.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? All in favor of budget 478, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Budget amendment 482 is for $21,250. It's to budget for Medicaid grant funds received for implementation of electronic health records for implementation of Cure MD grant funds.
Pleasure to board.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion on the floor. We approve budget amendment 482. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Budget amendment number 483 is for the jetport. It is $50,000. We're requesting that we transfer fund balance from the general fund to the airport of $50,000. The cash amount and available funds over there is getting very small, and we feel like that at this point, before audit, we should move $50,000 over there. So we just need to give a little bit more money to that fund.
Pleasure to board on budget amendment 483.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion on the floor. We approve budget amendment 483. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Budget amendment 496 is to reclassify capital asset funds in the jail, and it is to put a vehicle that was purchased that was coded to the wrong, a non-capital line item into a capital vehicle line item. $22,785. This is strictly accounting.
Pleasure to board on budget amendment 496.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion on the floor. We approve budget amendment 496. Any discussion?
Just a quick question.
Mr.
What is
Doherty.
SCAAP?
We call it SCAP. I have lost. Let me get it for you.
Well, I mean, is that a particular type of vehicle?
It's restricted funds that they get.
Oh, okay. So it's restricted funds.
Something about alien.
Alien, yeah, those alien, it's called alien funds.
They're alien funds. Oh, my gosh.
They reimburse
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I should
It's
have
no
asked
county
that question.
funds. No county money.
Mr. Chairman.
That's a good idea.
Any other discussion? All in favor, show sign of right hand for budget amendment 496. Motion carries unanimous.
Budget amendment number 495 is for our hospital, self-insured hospitalization fund, is to appropriate additional funds needed for health insurance claims for the year ending June 30th, 2015. We need $650,000. I know that's a lot of money. That is an estimate to get us through the end of the year. Hopefully June won't come in that bad, but we're having to prepare for it at this time.
It's a pleasure to board on budget amendment 495.
Move to approve.
Have a motion on the floor for approval. Any discussion?
Just hope we have a better year next year.
I'm assuming we had those in reserves that we're just moving within the
Yes, sir,
hospital
we did have
fund.
them. We did have them in reserves, and also in your next year's budget, the rate is being raised from $565 a month per employee to $605. So we are, taking that into account in next year's budget.
Well, I read with some interest yesterday's article that Blue Cross is recommending a 25% increase in their rate. So for us to basically get by with a 7% rate,
Right.
I think we're very fortunate. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand for Budget Amendment 495. Motion carries unanimous.
The next, you have 2 walk-on budget amendments, and even though it's $400,000, it is good news. This is where we need to transfer an additional $400,000 to the school's sales tax fund, which is restricted for schools. It's on your Article 40 and 42, which we're obligated to give them the percentage. This means that when we originally did the budget for the current year, for the current fiscal year, we did not estimate as much as the sales tax is coming in at. So that means your part's coming in better, and so is theirs. So we need to transfer, and this is an estimate. We have not received June sales tax, but this is getting ready for the end of the year. And so we are estimating, that it will not be more than $400,000 that we need.
Motion approved.
Good news.
I have a motion on the floor to approve Budget Amendment 497. Any other discussion?
I want to make sure I'm understanding. This is really good news, I think, and that is that we actually we receive, or are about to receive, $400,000 more for the schools, just from sales tax.
That is just their portion.
I'm just salivating to find out how much ours is.
Well, somewhere comparable to that, because they get 30% of one and 60% of the other.
Okay.
So somewhere around a half, and if you recall, when we went over the revenues portion of the general fund, I told you that we were starting from a higher base than what was in the budget because we took into account we were getting more this year than we planned.
Yeah, this is really good news.
It is.
Thank you.
Well, it's not all of that, it's good news for the economy. I mean, because
It is
if
good
it's higher
news.
than what we anticipated,
I'm proud to bring you these 2 walk-on budget amendments.
Have a motion on the floor for Budget 497. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
The next one is for the same exact reason. It just involves the fire districts. And for our total fire districts, it comes to $239,085. And this is an estimate. We are estimating through June also. If it really comes back great, I'll come back with you. Come back again.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor. We approve Budget Amendment 500. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, county manager's comments.
Mr. Chairman, in the interest of time, I'm going to keep mine very brief. Just once we finish the budget this week, hopefully, as far as going over it, of course, our plans are to get back on to the more normal things that we've had to let slide a little bit as we completed the budget. But I think everybody's aware we're working very hard on the funding for the Ag Center, and I think we're making good progress on that on both the hotel motel thing and possibly some other sources of funding at the state level.
Is that all your comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is brief.
Board of Commissioners, committee reports and comments. Mr. Gurley?
Just wanted to mention going to the school's top-off trip the other day for Grantham Middle and Spring Creek Middle. It's amazing the amount of work that's gone on in the past few months, and that they're staying on schedule, and it looks like opening August is going to be accomplished. And compliment TA Love and Company and Metcom for the outstanding job and the marks they're giving us. And last, Mr. Chairman, Mount Olive Police has a new chief, Chief Tommy Brown, sworn in last night, and I've known Tommy for a number of years. He's a good, outstanding person, and I wish him well.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Yeah, the top off at Grantham and Spring Creek schools, Commissioner Gurley is right. It really was amazing the amount of work that's been done, and looks like they're on schedule, pretty close. Also attended Memorial Day ceremony at Wayne Community College. Keynote speaker was Colonel Andrew Bernard, who's the Vice Commander of the 4th Fighter Wing at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. He shared with us a lot of information about the local veterans that he's had personal experiences with, and it was very, very interesting. I also attended the Base Community Council meeting at Lane Tree, which these reports are given by the City of Goldsboro, the County of Wayne, and Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. The purpose of these council meetings is to go over what we've accomplished this year, but also set goals for what we want to do this coming year. We need to keep in mind that as 2017 possibly has been floated around for a BRAC meeting in the Pentagon, that's base realignment. Our relationship to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, our community relationship, city and county, will be one of the key ingredients that a decision is made. We have a great relationship. Hopefully we can get this soccer field, the city can get the soccer field going. The more we can do for our relationship with the military, the better off we're going to be when it comes time for BRAC. And of course, lastly, which we've already been over, but we also had a pretty lengthy budget meeting this past week. I don't know about all the rest of the commissioners, but I'll certainly be glad when the budget's put to bed. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Darty.
I pause because over the last few months, in our discussions for this year, for some reason on the budget, I think maybe some people's emotions have gotten ahead of them. And I just wanted to personally just say that being a commissioner is a tough, tough job. You have to make decisions that affect people's lives, and it's difficult for a balancing act in regards to assessing taxes that citizens have to pay and deciding where those taxes are best used. And unfortunately, we have a limitation in regards to the pot of money. Yes, we can raise everybody's taxes, and we can fund all of the nonprofits, and we can provide a lot of other services. But there are limitations. And I take this job seriously. And I just want to take a moment and just state that whether or not we may have a difference of opinion, we have to recognize there is limitations. We are required by statute to provide certain services. And in providing those services, it costs money. And we must live up to that responsibility. When we compare Wayne County today with our adjoining counties, I just want to point out, we are number 2 in regards to having one of the lowest tax rates in our area of all adjoining counties. Now that didn't just happen by chance. That meant that there were constraints put on these services. When we compare counties from 1,000 to 150,000 population throughout the entire state of North Carolina, we are 6th out of 100. And those things should be things that we ought to be proud about, that we are providing services, but maybe not to the extent that everybody would want us to, but we are providing services, and yet we are keeping in mind a lower tax rate to bring in jobs, to bring in industries, to try to make it receptive to have a better future for us all. So I wanted to make those comments. Yes, I've had a busy week, but the other thing I'd like to, Mr. Chairman, take a few moments to do something that normally I don't do. And that is give a shout out to another individual that has worked hard over the last few years. And he and I have a difference of opinion and come from a different background somewhat. He's a Democrat and I'm a Republican. But he's done a great job. He's served our community for 12 years, and he works to improve the quality of life here in Wayne County. And I have disagreements with him as others, but he is doing a fine job in working with this board. And I just want to say he's just doing a good job. And that's City Councilman Chuck Allen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Camardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll keep my remarks real short today, but I just want to harken back to my predecessor, J.D. Evans. Once he had come down and picked me up, and we were riding around and looking at things, and he said something real important to me that I was reminded of it by the editorial writer in what she put in the newspaper yesterday or the day before. Because she was really, I think, if I got it right, she was talking about the fact that our job is to make decisions about money being spent. But one of the more important things was she said that, if I got it right, the things that we'll determine how money will be spent, that money is taxpayers' money that's coming from some of the people that we're making decisions about. So you see, that's the thing that we must remember. Every tax dollar that we decide how it's going to be spent has been put in there by someone to include the people who will reap the benefits of the decisions we make. So it's not a one-way street, it's like a big circle, if you will. We make decisions about all kinds of things, and everyone is paying into the coffers, more or less, so everyone needs to be able to benefit from the kitty, if you will.
Mr. Payton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to echo what Commissioner Daugherty said. There is a limitless pot of money out there, and we've got some legal responsibilities of how we have to spend our dollars. And the public needs to keep in mind, we got 2 new schools coming in operation, and that debt service is big. We've got to help, we've got to take care of jails, we've got to take care of a number of things that are our responsibility. All the nonprofits, hey, I love all of them, I really do. I've been on a lot of those boards, but they got to understand that we have to meet our legal responsibilities before we spend any other dollars out there. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. And it's a tough call, it really is. And I mean, I have sleepless nights thinking about these things because it does impact lives. Anyway, moving from that. I too went to the Memorial Day celebration at Wayne Community College, and along with Commissioner Mayo. Went to the tourism board, and you heard Betsy Rosen talking about the Wings of Wayne, what the financial impact it was to Wayne County. 220,000 people attended, and a $4 million economic impact, which is pretty huge. I couldn't go to the school thing because myself and county manager and the city manager, we were up in the legislature trying to find dollars for the agriculture and convention center and trying to tweak as many dollars we can to make that happen. And last Friday, we went, myself and Mr. Daugherty and Chuck Allen. You hadn't been in the vehicle hearing that conversation, but he's right. Chuck is with us, and he supported us on this thing, and the cooperation that we have with the city is just, I think it may be historic. I keep using that, but we're working hard with them, and we met with our architect last Friday, and we're coming much closer to the vision that we want to reach with this agriculture and convention center. And I'll be calling a number of the agriculture board together and start to begin to show them what the vision is and how close we're getting. Again, we're gonna break ground in 2016. We're gonna make this happen. And that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Pate. Mr. Bailey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Latino Council and the Senior Center is doing well. I don't really have a major report. East Point, Mr. Wood, there is a thing going on in the state trying to get each county to pay their maintenance of effort. So that might come up within the next 2 or 3 months. So to be on the lookout for that. I have one suggestion that I would like to make, and I may not get the support from my fellow commissioners. I thought Mr. Doherty was talking about me when he was talking about this good guy. you fooled me.
I came close.
I stuck my chest out there. I said, oh boy, I got him going. But anyway, thank you. But anyway, the public comment time. I think, in my opinion, it's getting out of hand with one particular person, not the general public, but just one particular person. And because 99.7% of the time, I don't even know what he's talking about. And I just don't want to sit here every meeting twice a month and hear that stuff that he'd be talking about up there. And I don't think any of you know what he's talking about either.
I can't disagree with you.
So in time, after you think about it, I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we do something about that. I have to get Mr. Parker to find out what we can do, but we'll discuss that later.
You're going to put it in the form of a motion at a later date?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Thank y'all. I also attended the tip-off parties for the Grantham Middle and Spring Creek Middle School, and I was kind of blown away on the progress that they had made since they had started. And my understanding is that they're a week ahead of schedule at both schools right now. So they're moving forward. Also attended the Chamber Leadership graduation out at Lane Tree. We had several county employees that took that leadership course, and we've had many in the past. Also, I'd like to thank Commissioner Pate and Commissioner Mayo for attending the memorial service on Memorial Weekend. I took that weekend off, but I certainly do appreciate y'all covering for the county. Also attended the Base Community Council. Very informative, the comment from the city and from the base. I made a few comments pertaining to the county, but I always try to keep my comments short. But Mr. Wood, be prepared at the next one for you to make some comments.
Okay.
Also, I had the pleasure yesterday of attending the funeral of Senator John Carr, better known as Big John. Many of us that has been in the county all of our life, and ones that has been here in just the last few years, may not know what he contributed to Eastern North Carolina and Wayne County. I had the occasion to work with him on several different things. Me and Mr. Gurley almost stayed with him a week during the flood with Fran. But John Carr did so much for Eastern North Carolina and Wayne County that there's no way that you can even start mentioning all the things that he contributed to. And he had a way with words. When he was in office, most of the time that he was in office in Raleigh, a big part of that time was under Governor Scott. Governor Scott just thought he was in charge. He wasn't in charge. John Carr was in charge. But he have contributed so much to Eastern North Carolina. And it's sad that he passed away before the new hospital, the Cherry Hospital, opened. Because he, I wouldn't say single-handedly, but he was a big contributor in making that happen. Also, I want to mention, like a couple of the other commissioners already said, I'm proud of working relationship that Wayne County Board of Commissioners and the County of Wayne has with the city of Goldsboro. We haven't always had that pleasure. But we're working together great on several projects. Also the school board. We're working real close with the school boards. There again, we hadn't always had that pleasure, or the boards hadn't. I'm not saying they didn't work together, but they had a whole lot of differences of opinion, and we still do. But we can sit down and work them out. But I'm proud of the fact that we can work with those two agencies. Also, the nonprofits. I think we're all in agreement that the nonprofits in Wayne County are doing a very good job, very worthy. But as I said earlier, I was elected by the majority of the people in Wayne County, and I feel it's my obligation to spend their hard-earned tax dollars as economically as we can. I don't want any of the nonprofits to think that I'm against them, but I'm for them. But there again, I still have a heartburn with us taking tax dollars and contributing to some of the nonprofits. And then there's other nonprofits in the county that we don't give anything to that is just as worthy. And that's my choice to give to the nonprofit that I feel like is worthy. I'm not saying they're not all worthy, but some are more important to us than others. And I feel strong in you know, some of the nonprofits, some of the things that they're trying to do. But some of it we can do in the school system. I mean, we've got an obligation to fund the school systems. We have children of all races, nationalities in our school system, and as long as the school system takes the funds and spends it properly, our obligation is to fund the schools first of all, and then we'll fund other agencies as we see fit. But our priority is get the children of Wayne County, regardless of race, creed, or color, get them educated so they can be productive citizens in Wayne County. And that's my comments. And I have one more. On our packet each meeting, the very last page is Board of Commissioners information sheet. And I've said this in the past, and I'm still saying it now. I really have a concern on some of the pay scales, the difference in pay scales for some of the county employees. When you're only talking about a couple of dollars, I don't have an issue with that. But when you have some employees making minimum wage, and then we got others just making 3 times that really the job may not be any more important than that person that's making the lower pay scale. I know that's something Mr. Wood and his staff are working on, but I just got a great concern in someone making $7.25 an hour and then someone else making $20 an hour. I got a problem with that, and that's my comments. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to make a comment to my good friend, Mr. Casey, out there. He's my good buddy, so I can say this. You heard them give Chuck some shout-outs, didn't you?
I got another word for
it. Anyone else have anything? Not do I have a motion we adjourn?
No.
No, we can't adjourn.
We're gonna have a budget work session.
We're going straight into budget work session. Okay.
Recess.
I'd suggest you recess, we can have lunch and then please come back in.
We got lunch here?
We do. That's a good suggestion.
Let's eat before
right,
let's break bread.
We need to set a time when we're gonna come back so the press and our guests can, I know when we're gonna come back.
I'm not sure if it's here yet. We don't have a chance.
If it's not here, we can go ahead and start on the.
Yeah, we better make sure it's there.
I was asked the question what SCAP stood for, so I have that information, so I'll share it with you at this time. State Criminal Alien Assistance Program. and this money provides federal payments to states and localities that incurred correctional officer salary costs for incarcerated, undocumented criminal aliens.
And how much was that again?
Yes.
It wasn't a whole lot, was it? Oh, it's for
Bought a car.
He bought a car. I'm telling you, leave it to a, no, I mean, I'm hush. Leave it to a deputy, he'll go buy a car.
She said it'll be here at 11:45, so we can take the first 30 minutes and go ahead and
Get started.
Budget.
Okay. All right, we're going into a budget session.
I'm gonna take my jacket off for this. No.
You will, I will.
I didn't have it up.
Yes. Wayne needs about 2 minutes. I'm gonna take about a 5-minute break. Would that be okay?
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break.